Hey guys, welcome back to Life of Bliss and what is probably the last video in this build series that I've been doing on the Evolution boxes from GSG Audio. Now, it's taken a lot of work to get up to this point. But today is paint day. Now, as you can see, I've had everything laid out and prepped, and I painted the bottoms of all three of these boxes last night so those could cure, and I could get the feet on the bottom of the box so I can stand these upright and then paint all of the rest of the surface. Now, to paint these, I'm using Raptor bed liner coating. This is a fairly inexpensive product. I've used Durtex in the past, which is, I would say, roughly the same cost for what you're looking at doing, but this should be a much more durable coating. Now it is a 2K product, meaning there are two parts that you have to mix for this to cure, unlike Durtex, which is just a one-part product and it just dilutes with water. So this is a little bit more intensive as far as the prep and cleanup, but it should be a much harder coating. If you are interested in how I did Durtex in the past, I'll leave a video link down below. But like I said, we'll be doing Raptor liner on all of these. I've got a really good finish that I think I like. I'm gonna try to replicate that for the rest of the boxes. So we'll go ahead and I'll show you how I got the feet on the bottom first, and then we'll get into mixing and spraying the Raptor liner. Now, each of the feet kit from GSG comes with 4 of the rubberized feet, some insert threads to throw in the bottom of the box, and then also screws to hold those on. Now you'll want to mark where each one of these will go just so everything is centered. I just went a few inches off of each corner, and then take a drill bit that is slightly larger than the insert screw itself, but still allows the wings to catch as you screw it in there. Throw a little bit of glue on those inserts just to make sure they wouldn't back out, and tighten them down. After all those were installed, it was just a matter of screwing on the feet. There you go, feet on the box. So I want to stand these upright to paint all of the sides at one time. I did tape off the feet on the bottom just because I did not want to get any overspray on the newly installed feet. All right, now we are on to the fun stuff. Let's talk about the Raptor liner and what all that entails. So, like I said, this is a 2-part system. You have the bed liner or Raptor liner itself, and then you also have a hardener that needs to be mixed with it to activate it. So this is mixed in a 3-to-1 ratio, and if you are going to be using their supplied gun that they gave you, first off, you'll need to get some sort of pressure gauge to know how much pressure you're blowing out of the gun, but you will need to mix this up in a 3-to-1 ratio. They supply this cup where you just put everything into this bottle and then screw it onto the gun. So these aren't completely full. They allow you to measure out what you need, pour it in the bottle, shake it, throw it on the gun. It's a pretty quick and easy system to be able to start spraying. I'm not going to be using their gun. I wanted to use my HVLP gun, which is this here. So along with using either of these guns, like I said, there is one extra step, and that's making sure you clean everything well. This isn't water-based like Durtex, where you can just use water to clean everything up. I have some, what they call gun cleaner here, so either lacquer thinner, gun cleaner, something like that, to be able to clean off your tools after you're done is going to be very important, especially if you're not spraying everything all at once. This is kind of a disposable gun that comes with each kit, but if you aren't going to be spraying everything at once, be sure you take this apart, clean out all these tubes, run some of that fluid through there. Just make sure you get it as clean as you can to make sure it's going to be working well the next time you use it. And here's the part where I start explaining how I'm going to use my HVLP gun, how to mix it up, the amount of reducer I'll be putting in there. But to be quite honest, guys, this did not work out like I had hoped it would. I did paint one of the enclosures with this HVLP gun, but the other 2 I went back to using the provided gun from Raptor, which I'll go over that here more in just a bit. Just know that using an HVLP gun like this, I probably should have had a larger tip. I had a 1.8, probably would have been better off doing a 2.3, 2.5, something like that. And I don't think I use quite enough reducer. So there is a little bit of a learning curve with this. This is my first time doing it, so I would like to revisit this again in the future
and see if I can get a little bit better result. So as you can see, part of the reason I wanted to use this HVLP gun is it lays down a very smooth product. It's not going to be as rough or as bumpy as using the Raptor liner gun. But you might be able to see in the video, it just starts sputtering and it was clogging up the gun. I just wasn't able to get a continuous spray out of it, so it made the top there pretty blotchy. Every couple minutes it would clog up. I'd have to completely empty the gun, clean it completely out, and then start over again. So this is very time consuming to do. I did get this one box done, like I said, but it was a struggle and I really wasn't willing to do that for the other two.
So as I mentioned, the HVLP gun did not go as planned. I'm thinking it's because I had too small of a tip. I had a 1.8, and a lot of people I've seen use a 2.0, 2.3, 2.5, something like that. So I think that was my issue. I'll revisit that another time, but for now I'm going to use the Raptor liner gun that came with it. I've already done the first coat on the other two, but to mix these up, take a brand new bottle of your liner. I poured the hardener into the supplied container up to the fill line. All you do is add it to the container. Gonna shake it up for 2 minutes and attach it to the gun, and it'll be ready to spray. It's a little rougher finish. I'm gonna try to fine tune it a little bit. The higher pressure you have, the smoother the finish is. The lower pressure, the more rough it is. So I know it says 40 to 60 PSI. I was doing about 70. I might bump it up to 80 and see how that looks, but that's the plan. So we'll get the other two done and I'll show you how they look.
Now, using the provided gun from Raptor liner was much less eventful, but it also gave a much rougher finish than what I originally thought I was going to like. But as you can see, it's more of a random motion than it is an overlapping motion like a normal HVLP. This is more of a circular spray instead of a line spray out of the gun. And if you stick in one spot too long, it builds up pretty quick. It kind of gets a shiny spot going. So even on this first coat here, I'm going slower than what I did in the subsequent coats. It really only needed 2 solid coats. I think I went over some of the panels 3 times just because of the amount of product that I had. But the more random you are with this, the better it's going to look. Don't worry about overlapping, going in lines, doing anything that's going to look pretty as you're putting it on. Just as random as you can, and that's going to give you the best look as long as you're getting the coverage. Now, even though you want to be random with spraying this, you still need to hit every edge well. So you can see here I went on the inside of the speaker rings to make sure that those were covered. Now, another cool thing about this product is there is no extra primer or prep work outside of your standard sanding and sealing your MDF edges. So you can spray this directly on the MDF with no other product underneath. Now, as far as technique differences between using the provided gun from Raptor liner and an HVLP gun, with the HVLP gun, I was sitting about 8 to 10 inches away from the box when I was spraying. There was a nice vertical fan. I was overlapping 50%, and that product was laying on very smooth, which you'll see here in a moment. With the Raptor liner gun, I'm a solid 2 feet away, and actually I'm a little bit further than that away from my final coat to get the most smooth, randomized look of the texture. So you're a solid 2 foot away the entire time spraying this, and it's much more random, like I mentioned. You don't want to get too close because that's when the product starts pooling up, the texture doesn't look quite right, and you start getting shiny spots instead of it being a little bit more of a matte color. And here's just a few shots of the top coat or the last coat that I put on the sides. As you can see, I'm much further back. I'm trying to be as random as possible, and you can see a lot of these shinier spots start to disappear, and the panel looks a lot more uniform doing the last coat this way. Now, if there is one crucial piece of advice I could give you when spraying this stuff that I overlooked, that would be putting down some plastic or some sort of cardboard on your floor, because this stuff gets all over the place. The overspray is pretty bad since you're so far back, and it will stick to your floor, so just be sure to put something down to protect your floor. Now, looking at how smooth that HVLP gun laid down, it looks great, but you will have to pay a little more attention to your prep work to make sure you're not seeing any dips or seams or pit holes, things like that. But man, that Raptor gun, it laid down a super uniform finish. I can't see any seams on these boxes in person. It's a little rougher than the HVLP gun, but man, it turned out super awesome, much better than I expected. So I am super happy with using the Raptor liner gun. And another example of the prep work showing through with the HVLP gun around the port area, switching over to the Raptor liner gun on the other box, a lot of that disappears with that rougher finish. So guys, even though I had issues with the HVLP gun trying to lay down that Raptor liner, I was super impressed with how well it did out of the gun that they provide and how well it laid down on the boxes and gave a good uniform finish. I normally don't gravitate towards that rougher finish, but with this product and the way it lays down, I think that these look really good. And actually, this is probably going to be my go-to product for finishing boxes with this sort of finish, the rougher finish. Now for a smoother finish, I do think Duratex is going to be the better product. It's easier to sand, easier to clean up being water-based. It's just going to be better for a smooth finish. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Which one do you prefer? Which one are you most likely to put on your enclosures? I really hope this video helped you out. Now, we'll be having more videos using both Duratex and Raptor liner in the future, so be sure to subscribe. I really appreciate you guys watching Life of Bliss, and I will see you soon.